I get a witness in here? When I turned around,
This is where the community is connected. 980 AM WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Macon and Middle Georgia. It's time for Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM WDDO. Log on to the Glory 107.9 FM on Facebook or YouTube to become a part of the conversation. Let's go live into the studio for Village Talks with Tia and LJ.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get your membership today.
Hey, good evening. Good evening.
Hey.
How y'all doing? Welcome to Village Talks. We are Making the Middle Georgia's freshest radio show and Godcast, bringing you conversations centered around culture and community from right here in the 478 and beyond. I am your co-host, LJ, and to the left of me is the fabulous, magnificent, lovely, smelling so good, looking so good, greatest mother, greatest lover, friend, all of the above that you could ever want to have.
Tia, peace, good people. I didn't know where he was about to go with that. I didn't know where he was going.
What's wrong too? What? Tony, what's wrong? What did I say wrong? Tony coming in. What did I say wrong?
We'll talk about it.
What I can't say?
You can say it, baby. It's fine.
Oh, okay, because I'm gonna say it. Because Anthony coming in here looking at me like I'm saying something wrong.
Oh my goodness.
I know this is the gospel station. We keeping everything appropriate.
PG.
No, it ain't PG, but it's appropriate. Everything you hear in church ain't PG.
But it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's appropriate. Yeah, absolutely. How you feeling today? How we feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. It's a lot going on locally, statewide, nationwide, but we got to stay grounded in purpose and intention. So I'm here and I'm feeling good, and I'm glad that there's been a lot of good dialogue online, and I hope that we can translate that into some good conversation here that translate into some action.
Absolutely, and it's gonna do that. We have an amazing show today, and normally we do have like a little bit longer intro and where we dialogue and do our news, but we're gonna keep it a little short today because we don't have an extended show today, but we're gonna make sure we have a great show today. Yeah. But we have former honorable Macon's first Black mayor, CJ Ellis, is gonna be on with us today. Now we're gonna be introducing him here very shortly.
Yes.
And this is the second time on the show.
Yeah, so he was our second guest on our second show.
Second show ever.
We done made it a year, y'all. We actually been a year in a couple weeks. So we have been blessed with this. And so I want to just make sure to say big shout out to Bishop Don Scott and Apostle Ortiz Rozier for this platform, for the opportunity to make sure that we are connected with the community in such a impactful way.
Absolutely.
And so let me go ahead and get right into
but hold on, before you do that,
okay,
we got to let people know that some people, they think we just a show that's online.
Mm-hmm.
And some people hear us on the radio and they think it's just on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to let you know that we're on both. All right. So we are actually on the radio on 107.9 FM, 980 AM WDDO on your radio dial. If you're in the Macon, Middle Georgia area, that's Warner Robins, Twitts County, Sandersville, all that good stuff, right?
That's right.
And we're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So we have a live chat going on right now. If you're listening on the radio, if you want your thoughts to be heard potentially on the radio, make sure that you go and check us out on the live stream. And you also can call in to potentially join this conversation with us at 478-250-1444. So again, that number is 478-250-1444. And we're going to go ahead and get into the good news.
That's right. That's right. So starting off on Saturday, May 30th, residents are invited to participate in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood cleanup happening Saturday morning from 9 a.m. until noon. Volunteers will meet at L.H. Williams Elementary School, located at 325 Pursley Street. Organizers are encouraging residents to come together to help beautify and protect the Pleasant Hill community. For more information, contact Ashley Wolford at 478-719-6997. Yes, we need anybody who, if you are in Pleasant Hill or just want to help beautify and volunteer, that'll be Saturday morning. Also happening on Saturday, May 30th, the Voices for Voting Rights Forum will take place from 1 until 4 p.m. in Macon. This event will focus on voting rights, civic participation, and protecting democracy. Organizations participating include Black Voters Matter, Common Cause Georgia, Latino Justice, and Rep Georgia. Residents can RSVP through the Southern Poverty Law Center website. The Bibb County School District Summer Meals Program will provide free breakfast and lunch to children 18 and under from June 1st through June 25th. Breakfast and lunch will be available Monday through Thursday at multiple school sites, including Heritage Elementary, John Lewis Elementary, Northwoods Academy, Springdale Elementary, Veterans Academy, Weaver Middle, and Southwest High School. For additional details, visit eatrightbib.com or call 478-779-2612. And finally, a free teen support group titled Overcoming Anxiety will begin on Monday, June 15th for youth ages 12 to 15. Sessions will take place from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. at 509 May Avenue in Macon. It's a 4-week program that is designed to help teens improve coping skills, thinking patterns, and emotional wellness. Space is limited to 10 participants. So if you want to register, call 706-466-4606 or email brightonms22@gmail.com. And that is what's happening in Macon.
For sure. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
It is. There is a lot more. So y'all just drop any events or information y'all have in the comments to share with some other folks that want to know anything else that is coming up.
For sure. And we're going to be trying to do as much as we can. We want to thank everybody that's chimed in. We put a Facebook post out there in regards to people putting in questions that they would like to answer. I mean, they would like answered from the former Honorable Mayor C.J. Ellis. And we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we did ask him if he would potentially be able to answer some of those questions. You know, as long as they ain't too just crazy, he got to respond for a whole year. Or, you know, but he's very accessible. He potentially could probably even have a conversation with you. You know, I know him. He didn't even tell me this, but we just know our mayor, you know, and how he is. So, so to continue to put questions in the chat, you know, if we can get to it, we will. I mean, it might be a duplicate question or something we're already going to ask, or we've been asked to ask Mayor Ellis. So just make sure you just keep putting them in there, right? And so I also like to shout out the chat right now for everyone that's already checked in with us. Frank Dixon says hello. What's going on, Frank? You've been starting a lot of mess out here too, man. What you got going? That's good trouble. Good trouble, Frank. Shout out to my brother Frank. Shout out to Carrie Hatcher. Man, I appreciate you, man, for all the information you put out there in regards to what's happening with the Board of Education, man. We appreciate you, Carrie. Miss Renalda Scott. Hey, how you doing, sister?
Hey, Renalda.
Yeah, chairman of the Democratic Party. She's doing a lot of work in the community. Shout out to you. Chris Barfield says, hello, all. Says LJ, the Bible says, go forth and multiply. That's right, Chris. That's right, Chris. And shout out to you too, man, for trying to continue to make things happen around here. Miss Deetra Taylor. Hey, Miss Deetra.
Hey, Deidre. Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Summer breaking it.
She says, hey, y'all. Miss Jeanette Goff says hello. Hello, Miss Jeanette. Our village sister, Kia. She says,
sis.
She says,
Good,
Godcast,
sis.
brother.
That's right.
That's right. That's what this is. If y'all don't catch that, that's why I say every week it's a Godcast, not a podcast. It's a Godcast.
That's right.
That's right. And Kia also says, hey, y'all. And that's right, brother. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to stand on that. You know that. Ashley Woodfoot, our sister, she says, hey, y'all. Hey. Commissioner Bryant says, hi, all.
Hey, Commissioner.
Hey, Commissioner. Ms. Donis Bryant says, hi, I'm sorry.
That's the
same person. That's Commissioner Bryant. What's wrong with you?
Corey Wimberly.
Corey Wimberly, my brother Corey. Man, we still need some cakes, man. What them cakes? He selling out them houses. He don't want to sell no more cakes.
He ain't selling cakes. He said, I'm moving on to bigger and better.
He says, good evening. Shout out to you. And then we have Miss Wilson. Well, Miss Anderson is what I call her. Mm-hmm. She says, hello. Hey, how you doing? She's doing work with the National Action Network now. She's running that here locally.
Yes. And if you could, please drop information for the next meeting in the chat. That would be very helpful for anybody who is looking to participate and join the cause.
Absolutely.
All right. And then I also want to say, I know, Renata, if you could drop information about the next Democratic Party meeting, I know that's coming up as well. If you could drop that in the chat as well, we appreciate that. All
right. And before we get into the show, I just want everyone, if you can, please share this if you're on Facebook or any of the social media platforms. Share this. Let folks know what's happening with this conversation, because it's going to be an important one. It's going to be a good one. So make sure that you all share this. All right. And with no further ado, we're going to get this. You ready to get this conversation started?
I'm ready.
For sure. So
let's bring on the Honorable Mayor C. Jack Ellis.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Mayor Ellis, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you all. Congratulations on 1 year of informing the people.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Keeping the people up to what's going on in the 478, as you call it.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you for all you have done and continue to do to push this community forward in a positive and intentional way.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, first and foremost, what have you been up to? I mean, we've we have a question that we're going to begin with some of the questions from our chat, or what folks have sent in to us. But what have you been up to? A lot of people ask that question. What have you been up to since you haven't been the mayor? What do you have going on these days, sir?
Well, it's been a long time since I was the mayor. We're going on 18 years. I left office at the end of 07 and beginning of 08, and here we are at 2026. So that's almost 18 years. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of things. When I first left office, I became I worked for a company, an engineering company. I was a consultant, business development, working with municipalities throughout the Southeast, a company by the name of Chest Engineers, owned by an African-American out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I was appointed the Honorary Consul General for Uganda. And I resigned that position because I started spending so much time on the continent because of my position, as well as educated myself as some other things going on in the continent.
Right.
And been writing a book. I'm trying to finish that. I'm in the final stages of it now. And hopefully we can get it done by Mercer Press will be the publisher. And hopefully we'll get it out this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait to read that.
I'm telling you, I'm ready to pre-order mine right now.
I mean,
I don't even care how much ever it costs to me, bro.
We're gonna tell it all.
Yes. Sign me up for
the pre-order. It's a memoir,
Okay, that's awesome.
Absolutely, you deserve a movie. You deserve a movie like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the working title we have is My Unlikely Journey from the cotton fields of West Macon to City Hall.
Oh wow!
And of course a whole lot of stops in between. But, and the subtitle is What Race Has to Do with It. And I'm going to use the term that Tina Turner used, not what race has to do, what race got to do with it.
That's right.
Because race has been, if it hasn't been everything in my a part of my life, it's been in my life for the most part of my life.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
We're gonna keep everybody updated.
Okay.
When that is ready for print and hitting the stands.
That's for sure.
Good.
Yes, sir. So first off, we're going to go to some of the questions that people ask, and this is something that quite a few people are asking, or they just want to know. This is for folks who maybe weren't even alive during the time of you being our mayor here in Macon. Top shot of mail. He says, I would like for him to address and acknowledge all of his accomplishments while he was the mayor and all the initiatives he installed that are still flourishing.
Well, where do you like me to start? You know, of course, there were a lot of things that we're very proud of. And of course, with the help of a lot of people, I had a very able staff and, of course, other partners in the community that partnered with us. But one of the most important things, I guess if I had to hang my hand on the thing that I came in office asking people to catch the vision of a new city. And we wanted to rebuild the city from inside out. And we started with Oglethorpe Homes. And of course, we planned on going on other parts of the city, but we started there to eradicate poverty, disperse poverty, not to eradicate poverty, but to disperse poverty. And we took those 200, I think it was 232 units there at Oglethorpe Homes, and we took the citizens in those homes and gave them Section 8 vouchers and let them live wherever they want to in the county. And then, of course, we tore down, demolished Oglethorpe Homes, came back with what you see there now. So that was a very big accomplishment. It was turned out to be about a $33 million, $21 million from the federal government. And I think we put in another 10, 12 million. So it was right around $33 million that we invested in that neighborhood, commonly referred to as Bill's Hill, where the old Oglethorpe Homes were located. So we systematically changed that neighborhood. And of course, we went from there. Then I had on the books to do the same thing in Tender Heights, which got done after the plan was in place.
Right.
So that was a major accomplishment. And another accomplishment that it took me almost 8 years to do was building a convention center hotel at the convention center or East Macon.
Right.
And of course, that too was a $39 million deal that we got that done before I left office. So, but then one of the things that I'm really proud of, and we're in the summer months now when children are out of school, is our summer youth employment program. Every year we that we were in office, that we employed and north of 1,000 children. I think one year we had almost 2,000 children that we had funds for, that we could pay them and minimum wage and send them throughout the community, working with different agencies and organizations as well as municipal governments. I hope they still have that summer youth employment program. I don't know how it's working now, but I was very proud of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And you did so many more things.
There are a lot of I could go, I could go down the list. But one of the things that I'm very proud of, and I mentioned this to you the last time I was here, and a lot of people say, "Oh, okay, that's no big deal," but I thought it was a big deal because when I came in office, I discovered that while I was campaigning, went all over the city, and I realized that the sidewalks in African American communities, low income communities, were in very bad state of repair. They were crackling. They were torn up. And I wanted to know why the city wasn't repairing these sidewalks in these particular neighborhoods. But what I discovered when I came in office was that the resident that sidewalk was adjacent to, that they would have to pay half of the fee to have the sidewalk repaired. And of course, if you were struggling to put food on your table and pay your utilities and everything, the last thing on your mind was fixing the sidewalk.
Right.
So the very first ordinance that I passed and that introduced and passed was that we're not going to have citizens fixing sidewalks. We're going to fix those sidewalks, and we're going to do it for free. They're not going to pay for it. I hope that's still in existence now, but we still have a lot of sidewalk to do. And I understand now that as we speak, there's a survey that the current administration is around as to where sidewalks should be installed, and we can just ride around the city and see where they should be installed, all down Riverside Drive. Most predominantly African-American neighborhoods, especially the legacy neighborhoods, the ones that go back a long time ago, because we never had sidewalks in those neighborhoods, in black neighborhoods, such as Unionville, Fort Hill, Bellevue, Fort Hill to a less extent, but we never had sidewalks. Whereas in the white communities, they always had sidewalks. So now we occupy those communities, such as Cherokee Heights, Napier Heights, you name it. Most of these neighborhoods were predominantly white neighborhoods when I was growing up, so they all had sidewalks,
right,
and they had running water, and they had sewer pipes and all of that, whereas we didn't. So that was one thing that I was very proud of. So I would encourage you, if you want a sidewalk, make sure you get your name on the list, or your street's name on the list, and let your commissioner know, let your representative know that we need sidewalks and we need them now.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yeah, before Tia asks the next question, I like to say, before and there's a comment that I think is a good segue to something that I want to add to. It's Kiki G. She says, discussions about CJAC's tenure are always interesting because I feel like some of his ideas were just rebranded and credit given to others, or programs phased out to diminish his legacy. Yeah, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I've seen that. As a matter of fact, but for instance, we renovated the airport. The first time that airport out there had been upgraded since 1959. We put, I think, $12-15 million in what the airport that you see now, and we put a plaque there with the city council's name, as you do on most buildings. When you finish something, you put a plaque up, completed this day, and so forth and so on. The mayor and city council members. So we had that plaque installed, but the plaque disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this was a big bronze plaque, but they took it down. The same with Jefferson Long Park. We had that park in Pleasant Hill designated as Jefferson Long Park. I bought that all of that property there, tore down a lot of dilapidated houses, and we put a plaque there that this park was designated this day and this time for Jefferson Long. It disappeared.
Oh, wow.
So in other words, they tried to just erase history. And I remember when I put forth the idea of building an amphitheater, and we had the land all secured, that the not Georgia Power, but Atlanta Gas Light had given us, gave us the land right where the behind Daybreak. They put some houses there now.
Oh, wow. By Central City Park.
It's Central City Park. And It made sense to put it there because the Music Hall of Fame at that time was right across the railroad track. So we were going to figure out a way to connect it somehow, that these two would be connected. We were the only city that didn't have an amphitheater. And of course, they fought me tooth and nail that we didn't need an amphitheater. The media, the newspaper, and everybody came out of all the things we need. The last thing we need is an amphitheater. Well, now an amphitheater. Oh, it's a great deal. It's a great idea. And I'm glad we have it because hopefully it's being utilized. I haven't been there yet. I look forward to going. I've been invited. I will say that the current mayor has invited me to come and be part of his box there, but I haven't taken him up on that. Maybe I will in the very near future.
For sure. Yeah. Yes. Well, we appreciate you, sir, for everything that you've done. I know there's a program, and before Tia asks the question, that's what I was saying. I was wanting to ask. Last time you were on the show, we've been having this conversation a lot. Tia looking at me like, all right now.
Because you keep on saying before I ask the question.
No, I'm not saying this because we're going, because I haven't forgotten it. I've forgotten that. I'm sorry. Yeah, but last time you were on the show, you talked about a program that you had, and we've been having this conversation a lot lately because I've been bringing up the fact that right now we always constantly hear about affordable housing. Every time we're talking about developing our communities, we talk about affordable housing, right? And me, for one, through my experience and research and things that I've seen in other cities, and from organizations who do the work across the country, it's taught a lot about rehabilitation, how renovation has to be done with development in communities when we talk about affordable housing. Like, you have to, we have to identify houses and homes that could need the repairing, or infrastructure improvements and things of that nature. Especially when we're talking about home ownership as being a key to developing wealth, and us not displacing folks and legacy residents of marginalized and underserved Black communities, in most cases, right? And with Macon being the most redline city, that's even more important for us to do that. And so you had a program, you talked about this last time you were on the show, about how you had a show that gave forgivable loans to certain families who are at risk to, having the homes become, I guess, maybe blighted or things of that nature. And can you just speak really quickly about that program that you had?
Well, that program started in conjunction with the Oglethorpe Homes redevelopment in Bills Hills, because what we realized is that if we did not do something around the Oglethorpe Homes site, that we built mixed income houses there, that we could not just allow a lot of the legacy residents who lived around that area, their homes were in bad repair. So we made sure that their homes would be brought up to standard, and we gave them loans to do that, whether they needed a floor, whether they needed a roof, siding, whatever they needed to bring their homes up to code, and that we would give them that loan and they could get it repaired. And we would forgive that loan as long as they were alive, or as long as that home stayed in the line of their heirs. In other words, they couldn't turn around and sell the house as soon as their mom died and run off with the money. Mm-hmm. Then they would have to pay that money back. But as long as that house stayed in, what you call it, generational wealth, if you will, right, as long as it stayed in that family, that loan would be forgiven for the duration as long as that house existed. And I thought that was a good idea, and it was. It worked out well. A lot of older citizens lived in those areas and had some of those houses in those conditions, so we were able to get them get them a lot of help. And we did that in a couple other areas, but the main focus, we started in the Bills Hills area, around Ross Street and all of those streets around the old Oglethorpe Homes area.
Right. We need to duplicate that program. We'll talk to you later about that, how you can help us in the community.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be duplicated, especially when we're seeing like the Pleasant Hill landing coming over in Pleasant Hill, when there's redevelopment work happening in South Macon, right, Napier Heights, and all of these places. We definitely need to make sure that we find ways to stop displacement of legacy.
And down payment assistance. We did a lot of down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. If you look at that area right there, Princeton, Osborne, right there on Tailfair, on the corner of Tailfair and Richard Penland, those houses that were built there, a lot of those people needed down payment assistance. We were able to give them sometimes up to $20,000 to $25,000 forgivable loans. As long as they got in that house, they could get in there. They passed a credit report, and they went through what we had at that time called I think it was Home First. They would go through the home buyers a program and show them how to take care of a house, how to budget for repairs and so forth. Right. And that program was very successful as well.
For sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on to a question that Marshawn Wright has. We're just going to ask the first part of that question. Take the opportunity to tell the people how you were attempting to strengthen our economy and connection when you went to Africa.
Well, it was more than just about money. It was about a cultural connection. It was about a connection with our ancestors, because no matter where you come from, if you are an African person or a person of African descent living in this country, your ancestors at some point passed through the door of no return on the African continent. And that's why we are here now. So we established a relationship with the city of Elmina in Ghana. Elmina happens to be the city where a lot of enslaved people were shipped from that area, just as they were in Gorée Island and Senegal and up and down the Ghanaian coast. It goes coast of Ghana. So we endeavored to have a relationship with that city so that we could have cultural exchanges, education exchanges, medical exchanges, and so forth. And if there were some economic opportunities, then we wanted people to take advantage of it. As a matter of fact, I turned the guy on to Elmina, and he's not even from Macon, but he knew of my relationship there, and he started importing tuna and flying tuna from Ghana into Atlanta on Delta Airlines. As a matter of fact, if you're flying out of Ghana, sometimes you see the plane maybe half full, and they won't let no more people get on. And they want to know, why can't I get on? Well, we have tuna in the belly, and that's more profitable than having a person sitting in a seat. So there are opportunities with our sister city there in Ghana. And some people are even importing different produce and things of that nature. Of course, it's cost prohibitive when you have to ship it by plane, especially when it has a very short shelf life. You know, pineapples and things of that nature would become very, very problematic because of the weight. Jackfruit will become very good fruit there in Africa, become problematic because of weight and because of shelf life. But there are economic opportunities if people want to pursue it. But it wasn't about just having an economic connection. It was about having cultural connections and things of that nature.
That's awesome.
For sure. For sure. You have something else to say?
No, I was going to ask another question, but if you wanted to go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Commissioner Donis Bryant asks, what role did your city council play in making economical decisions in their communities, and how were the monies distributed to small businesses, communities, and projects so others weren't neglected too long?
Well, that's a very good question. We had we had too many people on city council, to be honest with you. 15, that was just entirely too many people. We had a city council of 15 people, but they, for the most part, they were very supportive of economic development issues. Not all. As a matter of fact, I mentioned earlier about that hotel that we built. I needed 8 votes to get that hotel out of the ground. Out of the 15, I only had 8 votes. Had I lost 1 vote, we wouldn't have the Marriott Hotel sitting where it's sitting now, which was a no-brainer for me. And I don't know why, 7 of them decided to vote against this very worthwhile project that was needed for so many years. We had one of the few cities with a convention center sitting there with no hotels anywhere nearby, and people didn't want to come. That people like, when they go to conventions, they like to use the hotel right near the convention center.
Right.
I knew that.
Right.
I've been to enough conventions to know that, and that's why we pursued it.
Absolutely.
But what was the other part of the question? I think that was the second part.
And how was the money distributed to small businesses, communities, and projects so others weren't neglected too long?
Well, here again, what we had to do, because the law didn't allow us just to do a minority set aside per se, we had to do a disparity study to show that there had been historically a disparities and given what we call contracts for goods and services to minority and women-owned businesses. And we did that disparity study. It cost me $50,000. I hired a gentleman by the name of Dr. Danny Boston from Georgia Tech, who had completed one for the city of Atlanta to get around the law. And we discovered that the year before I came in office, even the 2 or 3 years before I came in office, went back, I think, 4 years, that less than 1% of all of the goods and services that the city of Macon had contracted had gone to minority or women-owned business, primarily Black-owned businesses and women-owned business. So then we were able to do 1 year what we call race neutral. Then we were able to do a set aside. So we did our goal was to get 30% of all of our contracts that would go to minority-owned business. I talk about the airport. Harmon Construction Company was one of the companies that we hired to make sure that we got that done. Almost all of our sidewalk work and things that we were doing in the city was a guy by the name of John Bell Construction Company, gave him a lot of money. And we start buying just from little mom and pops. If you could supply some of the things that we needed on a daily basis for city government. We did a real massive, very intense and intentional outreach program to make sure that people would be able to get a piece of action, if you will.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
That's really good stuff. All right. So Corey Wembley asked a few questions, but I'll ask this one that I think kind of sums up a lot of what he was asking.
Okay.
He says, as a former mayor of Macon, how do you feel about what's happening in the city as of today? What are 3 things that you potentially would do differently or just add?
Well, of course, this is my town. I was born and raised here. My great grandparents were enslaved here, so we have, I have skin in the game, as there's so many people. Ancestors were here and made this city, the city, that it was. I understand my great grandfather, who was a brick mason. I'm sure he was on his knees laying some of those bricks downtown, because all the things were cobblestone at the time. So I hate to evaluate the current administration, because it would put me in a position that I'm playing politics, and I don't want to play politics, because I want every mayor to be successful. Because if every mayor is successful, then we have to determine what that success is. Then
Right.
hopefully the citizens are successful, that
Right.
the neighborhoods are, renovated again, and that business opportunities are here. We have a good quality of life. We have jobs for people, and we all want that for ourselves. We want it for our children. We want it for our grandchildren. So I would say that, of course, we have work to do in Macon. We have a lot of poverty. We have a lot of people living in poverty. We have a lot of neighborhoods that's been neglected.
Right.
And we have a lot of health disparities. So we have a lot of bad things that's going on, but there are some good things as well. And I think we have to focus on the good, and without omitting the bad, and try to get the good down with the bad, or the bad up with the good. Try to get some equilibrium, if you will, in those
Right.
two. And that's our charge, and that's our mission every day, to do that.
Right. I like that word, equilibrium. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Balance in this
Yeah.
thing.
You just paint a rosy picture of everything,
Yeah.
but you're trying to have a positive outlook on what can be accomplished, but yeah, we appreciate you for being a realist.
And I appreciate you all, because I know that you bring up a lot of issues, but your issues are data driven, that you've done the research. For instance, I can, I did a piece on health disparities
Right.
in Macon. I wrote a piece at the beginning of COVID. And a lot of people don't realize how many people died in this city and county during COVID. Do you
Right.
have any idea how many people died?
No, how many?
Over 700.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And most of them were Black people.
Mm.
Most of them. But it's not because of COVID. Well, it was because of COVID, but there were so many underlying conditions already that
Right,
existed.
that exacerbated.
And yes,
Mhm.
for instance, do you realize that there's almost a 20-year life expectancy difference in the city of Macon between white people and Black people?
Yes.
That the average the life expectancy of a white person compared to the study that was in 2017, I think, or 2019, 2017. The life expectancy for a white person in the city of Macon was 87 years compared to 67 years for a Black person. That's a lot of difference.
That's
It
a
is.
huge difference.
You know,
Yes, it's a
I
huge
thank
gap.
God I'm in that category beyond that as a Black man.
Right.
I recently turned 80, so
Right.
so but theoretically and speaking, or statistically speaking, I shouldn't even be here.
Right.
Most of my peers are already gone.
Right.
Because the average life expectancy 67. But there's a reason for that, and we have to number one, do more about protecting our own health, but then there's some environmental factors as well
Absolutely.
that existed in this town for a long time.
That's right.
Where they put the various pollutant plants. Down in the old Tybee area, we had poor Black people living next door to some of the worst polluting industries in the world. They were there. Out in Botley Crossing, that used to be an old creosote plant adjacent to Botley Crossing. Now it's closed off, and they've been pumping water out of there, trying to get the toxin out of there for the last 40 years. But people lived around that for a long time, and the groundwater was affected, and a lot of people met their demise because of that. So there's a lot of things that we can do for our own health, but also there's some environmental issues that we have to deal with as well.
Yeah, because we brought that up a few times on the show that Macon is we're the most vulnerable city in the state of Georgia, as opposed, in relation to air pollution. So our folks in Macon, Georgia, are the most vulnerable in the entire state of Georgia, and actually it's like top 10 in the country. As far as our exposure to air pollution, and even when you talk about environmental issues, there are so many things that come with that. Nowadays, people talk about food deserts and just access to transportation, or just a lack of access to certain essential needs.
And that's a very good point you brought up about transportation. I cut my political teeth on the transportation issue when I was a quote unquote, they called me a political activist back in the late 80s, the early 90s, that at that time, the city bus would stop running at 7 o'clock at night, and it wouldn't go any further north than Windbush Road. And people had jobs up at Tom Hill Senior and all the other places around, but the bus would just stop running, and they would not accept federal funds. And why they wouldn't accept federal funds? Because they didn't want to recognize a union. Well, here we are right back again. We're getting ready to, they built a new mall out there. I was the mayor at the time when we signed off on giving them all of the tax benefits. They wanted to build that place out there. But one of the things that they promised us they would do, they would have access to public transportation. But I understand we don't have buses running out there. Now they want to build a Costco, and they're going to build one out that way. And we as a community should make sure that we have access to public transportation. We still have buses going out to the old mall, and it says Macon Mall. Well, there's nothing happened at the Macon Mall. Now, when I say it's nothing happened, as it was, you still have governmental entities out there, and you should have public transportation so people can get to court, get to the voting, get to whatever they need to do out there. But we should have public transportation going out to the shops at River Crossing and Bass Road and all these places where jobs are, entry-level jobs. People should not have to pay $10 or $15 a one-way cab fare, Uber fare to go to work.
Right.
And public transportation should go out there, and it should be operated until at least 11 o'clock at night. I would say midnight, but at least until 11 o'clock at night, because a lot of people get off at 11. They work at the hospital, you work at some of these hotels, you work 3 to 11 shift, and there should be public transportation. When I was a boy growing up in Macon, the bus would run until like midnight. Right. I remember I worked down at Food Fair Supermarket, and at the time I lived out on Log Cabin Drive, and I would have to, even though we sat at the back of the bus, but still the bus was available, that I could pay my dime and get on it downtown, and I could go to work and I could go home. Right. So we should have that. We should have that same transportation system again in the city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I don't want to even mention what I was about to mention about transportation, because I want to get into the next question. But we appreciate you. Let me just say this without you talking too much about it. We appreciate you for what you try to do with the train. We're getting the train from here to Atlanta, and because now shout out to Commissioner Stanley Stewart. I think he's been working with the former Mayor Rickett, I guess, actually on trying to revive those talks of where you brought up, over 20 plus years ago about us having that.
Yeah, and that's why we bought the terminal station in the first place. That is a multimodal facility. It's not a facility to have parties, Matter of fact, the area where they have parties, that is common, that is known as common area. Any person, when that place is open, any person in this city want to go ahead and sit on a bench and get in and out of the cold or the heat, they can do it. That's a public building with public space. And we worked hard on making sure that we could get Atlanta to Macon Rail here. And of course, Roy Barnes, when he was the governor, we were very close, but Purdue came in and he just shut the whole thing down. So hopefully we can get it revived again, because it would be a tremendous asset, and it will open the city of Macon to a whole lot of things that we're closed to now if we had that type of transportation between Macon and Atlanta, or
Absolutely.
maybe Macon, Atlanta, Savannah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, a few people are asking this, and this is a good question. I'm going to read what a few people in the comments have said, and then I'm going to read what was asked and what I was going to ask you. That came from Commissioner Andrea Cook, newly made Commissioner Andrea Cook. But the comments they asked, how do we improve the education of new leaders, especially minorities? That came from Frank Dixon, and Ms. Deidre Taylor also asked, Mayor Ellis, at 80, what advice do you have for young leaders? And Commissioner Cook asked on Facebook, she said, what process do you believe is the best method for preparing the next generation of political leaders? And this has been a hot topic here lately.
That's a very good question. I always like to quote my hero, and probably your hero as well, Nelson Mandela, when he said, "You're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to lead." So we have to ensure that our young people have access to the workings of government. And one way you do it, take it upon yourself to start attending the various meetings that's going on, be it planning and zoning, be it the Urban Development Authority, the Industrial Development Authority. All of these meetings are open to the public. And I would say, if you are interested in maybe getting into policymaking entities, that you should find out exactly what's the role of these entities, what's the role of the Housing Authority, what do they do, how do they get appointed, how are they funded, how does the Urban Development Authority, how does it get funded, how do people get appointed to it, volunteer to I like to be appointed to this committee, I would like to be appointed to this commission. But I would say show up, right, ask questions, and don't take no for an answer.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's real good. And then I know we are closing in on time, but I do want to ask this question. Is in our chat now. Patrick Davis asked, what are your general thoughts about this upcoming special session on June 17th of the Georgia General Assembly? He says Republicans may try to target erasing the majority Black 2nd Congressional District currently held by Sanford Bishop, along with targeting majority Black district state House districts in Bibb.
They're going to do it, and it's unfortunate that they're doing this. It basically put us right back. If you study Macon's history, put us right back to 1868. We had a representative. We had two representatives in Atlanta. Henry McNeil Turner was one of them, and he was. And when they kicked all of the African Americans out of the state house and out of Congress, but more especially the state house here in Georgia. So we've seen this before, that they are doing it strictly, even though they say, oh, it has nothing to do with race, it has everything to do with partisan politics. Well, you and I both know that in the state of Georgia, the majority citizens in the Democratic Party happens to be of African descent, happen to be Black people.
Right.
That's just a foregone conclusion, no question about it. Otherwise, Keisha Lance Bottoms wouldn't be, and they're a Black female by now, the largest percentage of the voting bloc in the entire state. So, yes, we have to be very vigilant. We have to go, and I plan on being in Atlanta that day that they have that special session. We have to put so much pressure on Governor Kemp. He says this is the number one state to do business. Well, if it's the number one state to do business, it should be the number one state to protect the voting rights of all people, and including African Americans, that they will have the opportunity to select the candidate of their choice, rather than letting the candidate select the voters of their choice. And we've seen this before. We were out of political power in this city from 1868, 1870, 1871 until 1975. The last Black elected official we had in the city of Macon was 1871, and we didn't have another one until 1875. I mean, to 1975. So we were over 100 years in the political wilderness, and what they're doing now is trying to put us back in the political wilderness for another 100 years. And we have to say, hell no, we're not going for it. That we ain't no ways tired. We ain't going back. We ain't going for this. And we have to stand up, just as they did in 1965, I was a 19-year-old then. It wasn't old enough to vote because you couldn't vote then until you were 21. But I remember how happy we were, how joyful people were when that Voting Rights Act was passed, because my mother and my grandmother and my aunts and uncles had an opportunity to finally vote without being asking all these silly questions, having to pay poll taxes and things of that nature. So here we are again at the same spot again, and we have to say, no, we're not going for it.
Absolutely. Well said.
Very well said, sir. Yeah, we have a comment I want to bring up. Miss Jazzy Teacher, she says she wants to tell you thank you for attending the Extra Stupid Awards long time ago, right? She said when others judged the name but missed the message, he showed up and dropped some words, shine a light on those that have been overlooked. And he says that you was and always, or she said that was always, that was and always will be a beautiful moment in making history. So she appreciates you for showing up for some of us that have been overlooked. Right. And, we had quite a few people ask this same question over and over again because, a lot of folks want to know about you being involved in the political processes that we have right now. And I guess, asking and wanting you to be involved, whether it is you actually running again or they want to know if you will run again. And how do you feel about the political process that we have going on and making right now? So I guess that's the best way for me to sum that up.
Well, number one, I'm not running again, but I want to work with people who are running. Matter of fact, Stanley Stewart has told me, and I hope I'm not speaking out of place here. I put my tongue in my tongue in cheek. It's not a tongue in cheek statement. This is a comment coming from him that he is planning on running for mayor, and he sought my advice, and I plan on giving him whatever advice that I can. Now, if anyone else want to run and say I'm planning on running, and they want to, I'm willing to sit and talk with them as well. So if you're planning on getting in politics, I would say start early, start often. You get your facts together. Let people know your agenda. Come up with an agenda with what's your vision for the city. Sell it to the people, and go for it.
Right, and let me ask you this question now. This is a candid question now, because because people gonna want to know this. Now, you being the mayor, how do you feel about at the time of you being the mayor or being a sitting mayor and endorsing other candidates? Like, you being a mayor and then you endorsing commissioners, at the time of you being the mayor.
Well, I personally don't like it. I wouldn't do it because the thing about it, especially if I'm endorsing a city council person, and I've got to work with that, win, lose, or draw, whoever shows up, I've got to work with them. So automatically it would put a bad taste in the person's mouth that I've got to now go and try and work with, knowing that I was out last week trying to defeat them. So I just think it makes good political sense as far as I'm concerned. It's to stay out of races that way. And of course, you want to make a contribution, you make a contribution. You have one vote to give your vote. But to come out publicly and to pit one council person or what have you against even a state representative against another one, I think for a city mayor, it's, to each his own, but I wouldn't do it.
Good.
Understood. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left, but yeah, but I do just want to ask you to give any closing thoughts, just your experience with being the mayor in the time that you were, what you are seeing now, what vision do you see for, the future of politics and making for Black people, and, and for us to kind of stop the division that we're seeing, because I think that we're seeing division not just on the national or state level, but also on the local level. So, can you just give some encouraging words and let us know, how we move forward in a way where Black people aren't being disparaged, but everyone is being seen, heard, and valued?
First of all, I would encourage them to listen to Village Talk.
Y'all heard
that? Really, because a lot of good information is coming from these this room here and from these microphones. But I would say demand equity in your community. Demand that you get the same services in your community that's being dispensed in other communities, no matter where you, because we know that redlining is taking place. We know what food deserts, where the food deserts are. We know where the needs are. The needs are greater in the underserved communities. So that means we need to shift resources there and do it without any apology. That this is where, it's like, you go into the emergency room and you go in there, they triage you. If you sit over here, but if you are in dire need of some medical attention, you go to the front of the line. The same way with neighborhoods. There's some neighborhoods here that needs to be at the front of the line.
Absolutely.
That's where we need to put most of our resources right now, in these neighborhoods, because cities die from the inside out. And that's how they have to be repaired, from the inside out. You can't all put all the money downtown. You can't put all the money up north and all the money out west and expect for your city to thrive without having the urban core, or the core of the city, falling apart. It won't happen. It'll never happen.
Absolutely. Well, sir, we appreciate you greatly.
Yes.
Yeah, we had someone else, quite a few questions, but and I'm kind of paraphrasing now, but she was asking about you potentially. Miss Katrina Wimberly, she asked about you maybe doing like a lunch and learn or something with the youth or with some people, in the community, where you explain like what a mayor does and the whole job. And
that's a good idea. I'd be willing to do that. If anyone want to spearhead it and find a location, I'll be willing to show up. But if you, maybe I can even spearhead it myself. But that's a good idea. I like that. Okay. I'd be willing to participate.
Well, Katrina Wimberly, you heard that. Make sure you connect with Mayor Ellis. Let me know if you need some help doing that, and we'll make that happen. But yes, sir, you are such a treasure in this city, and we need to do any and everything that we can. I know you don't care about stuff like that, but we said it a few times on the show, and we are going to try to spearhead something of meaning to be named after you in this town, because it does not make sense for something, whether it's the airport, the terminal station, or something, to be named after you, Mayor Ellis. And you're not only just the first Black mayor in this town, but you've gotten a bad rap for trying to do so much for Black folks, whatever. But anybody that knows you knows everything that you did was for all people. Yeah. You just want to make sure that everyone was treated fairly. And with this being a majority Black town, it only makes sense when you talk about an equilibrium, to pull those up when we have this wealth gap and impoverished group of Black folks to try to help us out, as well. But we appreciate you for, and you being a war hero. Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Happy late Memorial Day to you.
Well,
if you haven't checked out the Netflix, what's the name of you were on the Netflix documentary?
Yeah.
What's the name of the documentary again?
The Turning Point, the Vietnam War, Turning Point. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have been asked to participate in that Netflix series, and it aired last year. April of last year, yes.
Absolutely.
75th I think it was 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War in 1975 was the 50th anniversary last year. So it's still there. It's out there. The Turning Point, Vietnam War.
Oh, that's awesome. And then very quickly, can you share, I know you were telling us ahead of the show that you have an event coming up in June. If you could share that information with the people.
Oh, yes. Speaking of the voting rights, we are having a dialogue symposium, if you will, at the Macon City Auditorium, Macon City Council Chambers on the 19th at noon. Michael Harvey, who is a lawyer from Macon, was a manager of Hope's, what is his name, Reverend Hope's campaign way back when. He's an attorney, and he has written an article, book about the first Black citizens being elected in 1975 called The Fantasy Five. And we're going to tape a program there open to the public on June the 19th. That is the day of Juneteenth, the celebration. That's the holiday. I know we're going to celebrate it later, but it's that day, 12 noon at the Macon City Council Chambers, the old Macon, I guess, whatever we call it now, government center, whatever they call it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we greatly appreciate you, sir. You are the truth.com.
Yeah.
we look forward to potentially having you back on. You know, at some point in time, we're definitely going to be sending another invitation to you. We're like for all y'all to share this. If you're on social media, share this show. Let everybody know. It's a great conversation, and check in with us next week and every week on
Village Talks. Peace.
Peace and blessings, y'all.
Thank you all.
You've been listening to Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM, WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry.